Hello there, my name is Kathryn Orford. I'm also known as a sales confidence coach, and I'm the author of this international best-selling book, Become Your Number One Fan: How to Silence Your Inner Critic and Live the Life of Your Dreams. Now, I don't know about you, but I had a very, very vocal inner critic years ago, and I think that people in the sales industry in general certainly do. And the ones that are successful in the sales industry actually learn to take control of it, to basically fire it, tell it it's not welcome anymore, whatever. And today I'm actually going to teach you what I've used in my life to turn that inner critic into a cheer squad. I want you to imagine how you're going to feel sitting at your desk or going out on a field call or whatever when you've got a voice inside your head that is cheering you on instead of chastising you. How cool is that going to be? So I'm going to share how to do that with you. It's like when we have that inner critic running the show, it's like a GPS. If we put in our GPS that we want to get to a destination and we have that inner critic running the show, we're going to get to a totally different destination in our life than we are if we actually take control of our thoughts and we actually say, okay, this is where I'm headed and I know I'm going to get there. I know years ago when we were living back in Australia, it was so funny, we put in the address. My daughter was a very good basketball player, and we put in the address of where we were planning to go. And it was so funny because we ended up at a cemetery and it said, "You have reached your destination." And we went, this isn't the basketball stadium, something went wrong. So we don't want you going to the sales cemetery, do we? We want you actually going to somewhere that is actually absolutely amazing, where you can rock your sales and virtually start creating sales beyond your wildest dreams. How does that sound? So there's 4 ways that you can take control of that voice inside your head. And I want you to try all of them and then work out what works for you. The first one is to change the tone, because chances are it's really critical. For example, I used to say to myself when I stepped up, "You silly idiot." And I would say it with that level of intensity. Can you imagine how Donald Duck would say, "You silly idiot"? Now, I can't talk like Donald Duck, but I can imagine how Donald Duck would say that, and I'm sure you can too. It makes you smile, right? Because you totally took away all of the chastising and it made it fun. So first way you can do is change the tone. Change it from critical to silly. If you can't do Donald Duck, which I certainly couldn't, and I'm very kinesthetic, I actually need to use my body in order to learn. So I would go, "You silly idiot! You silly idiot!" Just do something stupid to just desensitize it. So change the tone is the first way. You can change the volume. If you're primarily an auditory learner, you're going to have fabulous success at this. You know when the phone rings and you're watching TV and you hit the remote and you hit mute? Or if you're old enough, you might remember being able to turn down the volume on the volume switch. So you can actually, if you're auditory and you find that that voice is running the show, you can just imagine reaching up, hitting the mute button or turning down the volume so it's not there at all. So you can change the tone, you can change the volume. The third way is you can drown it out. Now, I had a lot of success with this one, and I sometimes combined a couple. So every time it said, "You silly idiot," I go, "Absolutely not. Out of here. I don't need you anymore. Out of here. I do not need you anymore." And I would just keep on repeating it until it got out of there. So change the tone, change the volume, drown it out, or add a positive onto the end of the negative. It's all well and good to say start speaking positive, but guess what? The negative thoughts have had lots of practice. It's like going to the gym and doing this. So instead of thinking you've got to think positive, when the negative thought comes up, you need to actually reprogram it. Now, you can do that by adding what I call a Yui to the end of it. In Australia, we call it chucking a Yui when we're actually doing a U-turn on the road. By using one of these things in the Yui, which is an acronym, Y, U, and I, add it to the end of a negative sentence and you are going to find it absolutely just takes away all of the sting. So for example, "I can't close that sale." If you say, "I can't close it yet," the Y stands for yet, what is that presupposing? That if you stick with it, you will be able to. The U stands for up until now. I never get chosen by the boss to actually present at the sales meeting. If you add up until now to the end of it, and if you say it in a tone that is up until now and you stand confidently, what sort of impact is that going to have? And the I is in the past. Stick it in the past where it belongs. How often do you actually stuff up, or you don't nail that sale, or you don't actually pitch correctly, or you don't get your script right or whatever, and you drag that with you into your current reality? Guess what? You're going to create more of the same. Go back and learn the lesson by all means, but just bring the lesson with you, not the feelings with you, the emotions that are actually going to really stop you from feeling good about yourself. So, recapping, you can change the tone, change the volume, drown it out, or add a Yui to the end of it, and you can start really building that muscle. And it is like a muscle. There are neurons in your brain that can start making brand new connections. It's called neuroplasticity. We didn't know this till about 15 years ago. Now, your inner critic has had lots and lots of experience, I'm guessing, if it's like mine. So it's thick. It's got the muscle. Now you're going to have to actually develop the muscle. Never allow a negative thought or emotion to reside in your mind for more than 5 seconds without actually drowning it out or doing one of those things. Now, I used to have a lot of fun, as I said, doing two. I would add a positive onto the negative, and I would also say, out of here, I don't need you anymore. So play with them. The tone, the volume, drown it out, or adding a Yui, and let me know how you go.